Now what I'm going to do, because I'm going to use servo trays for the servos, just a little printed plastic servo tray, so that'll be, I should have done the cutout but I forgot, but I will put it on the plans. So I don't need to glue the servo into the wing or anything. In fact, I've not really decided at this stage whether I'm going to use the end. These are the tips of the wing, whether I'm going to use that, the wing tip as the aileron, or whether I'm going to use the inboard aileron. Not decided yet. So what I'm going to do is just join a couple of servo leads together. I'm just going to put a bit of tape on there, just to hold them together so they don't come apart. I can always take the tape off when I've pulled it through, just to make sure that they're not going to come apart when I pull the lead through. And I'm simply going to feed this through the little slots that are in the ribs. If you didn't really want to do this, you could feed a wire down and pull the servo lead through. It's not a big deal. Or you could simply put a piece of string down there. Okay, so what I've done, I've just done a lead down there, so when I actually cut if I decide to put to use the tip as the aileron, I've got the lead there. I can just simply cut the hole in there and grab hold of that. If I decide to use the inboard aileron, again I can just pull it through and use the inboard, but at least I've got the lead in, so I can do that later. Okay, so now I'm just going to test this now with the ribs in. Make sure that when this comes over, the trailing edge is lining up. If I have to pull it at one end or push it back at the other end, so it's lining up pretty well. I have to just push that a little bit, so I need to know that that's going to line up pretty well with this trailing edge. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to be fairly close, otherwise things are going to be twisted. Okay, now this is where you've got to be a little bit quick. If you're going to use hot glue, you have to be fairly quick. If you're going to use a different type of slow setting glue, the foaming glue or whatever, I'm just making a few little bits of masking tape so that when I glue this I can just wrap it around the trailing edge to hold everything in place. So again, I know where I'm going to pull that round. And now, because I'm going to use hot glue, I've got to be fairly quick. So I'm going to run a bead first of all, just along the front, just to give it some extra strength on that roll. And then I'm going to go down each rib. Just make sure you don't get any of this on your servo lead, otherwise you're not going to be able to pull the servo lead through. I'm not going to do the end. I'm going to leave that end, and I'll do that later. Okay, so now I'm going to pull this over. Just going to get that have to be fairly quick with this. Okay. Okay. If you use the a slower setting glue, then what I'd recommend is that you maybe put some weight on it and leave it overnight, or for a couple of hours, depending how long, whatever glue you use. I sometimes use Yoo-hoo glue, which is a slower setting glue. Yoo-hoo pour. And if I used that, then I would put some weights on and leave it for 2 or 3 hours. Sometimes I would leave it overnight until everything's set, and then it makes sure that everything's nice and flat. And there we go. Okay, so now we've rolled this. Before I close this end up, now we've rolled it, we can remove the clear packaging tape because it's not going to crack now, or it shouldn't. He said. So we've got a nice leading edge. We can now put some glue in there and pull that edge down. Again, I'm going to cut tear myself a few bits of masking tape. And I'm just going to run a bit of glue inside there. So when you're using hot glue, you have to be reasonably quick. Depending how hot you have your glue gun set, will depend how long it takes for the glue to go off. I have mine, when I'm doing this sort of thing, I have mine set fairly high, just high enough so it doesn't actually melt the foam. That's pretty straight, and she's pretty flat. And then what I'm going to do, because I know these the servo lids, they've got to come out the top, so that when it no, they have to come out the bottom. They have to come out the bottom. But what I might do is, because I want to keep it flat on the bottom, I might bring the servo leads out of the top, so that when I glue the two halves together, they're not going to get in the way, and then I can transfer them through to the bottom. We can always patch up a little hole afterwards. Okay, should be. Yeah, I think that's dry. Again, you can use slow setting glue for this. Just tape it and leave it overnight if you like, or leave it for a couple of hours. I don't have the patience. I like to work quick, so that when I use hot glue, I can virtually carry straight on building. Okay, so there we go. That's basically the ring now. I can sand that. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to sand these swirling edges. Then we've got this little bit here that, again, what I'm going to do, I'm going to bend that. Before I bend it, I'll just put a bit of tape on to make sure that it doesn't break. And then I'm just going to that, just bend it, then we'll fit in there. I'll just put a bead of glue in there. I've just glued that little piece in there. I can sand it back afterwards. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to sand the leading edge. And then round off. And there we have it, virtually. That's the half of the wing. I've sanded the leading edge and the trailing edge. I can always put a little bit of filler in there if I wanted. And there we have it, quick and easy wing. As I say, now I can add on the trailing edge, the wing tips, depending if I'm going to have that as an aileron or a little tiny bit more sanding to do there. Yes, this will, and then of course we've got the, if I decide to have that as the aileron, here's one I prepared earlier. Okay, so what we're going to do now is simply glue the two halves together. And I'll probably then wrap either, I might even do a bandage, fiberglass around the centre section to strengthen it. It's not a big deal because it will be hidden under the fuselage. The fuselage being, so what I'll do, I'll just glue this together. Again, I'm going to use hot glue. Oh, it would have to run out now, wouldn't it? Oh. Always when you're right in the middle of doing something, the damn glue stick runs out. Okay. Just making sure that we keep everything flat on the bench. And I'll either use fiberglass tape or, as I say, I'll use a bandage, a cotton bandage, and some clear varnish, some clear acrylic, to strengthen up this centre bit. Okay, while that dries, I'll see if I can find the fuselage. Here we have the fuselage. The wing sits in there. The cockpit's two slotted fixings there. We slide them into the slots. Click, click. Now Now that's not going to come apart. Well, we've got the hooks, and then we simply put the bolt in the front to hold the front of the wing down. Okay, and then we've got the hatch. It's into a slot in the back, and there we go. There we have it. And should we have an accident, or we want to change the wing, or as we are now, I need to remove the wing to finish the wing off. Or if you wanted to, if it was too big for your car, of course, you could use this as remove the wing to transport it. Pull out the carbon fibre tube, and then the top will unclip because of the hooks, and there we have the wing. Okay guys, that's all for now. I'll come back with when I fit the little servo trays, and when I decide where I'm going to have the ailerons. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye for now.